All right. This is where the magic happens. I have my hang bar up here. I have fat grips to help with certain grip strength things, but this is where I do my hang stretches. I'll give an example of those. Heavy bag is not used for much. Once in a while I'll give it a punch or a kick, but it can help with banded exercises, so I can kind of do something with some give. Anyway, I do a lot of shoulder stretches out wide, so I'm going in on those, but I also do my knee exercises. And my primary weight is a kettlebell 15-pounder. This is used mostly for stretching, and I use it with the kettlebell. I go around the world, big wide sweeps. And I do extensions, which I try to do 25 now for everything except for the timed things, but I do 25 reps on each leg, and it strengthens the foot. Like I feel my ankle is stronger just from moving this around, because when you're doing this you have to constantly fix, adjust constantly, and you try to go wider, and it doesn't hurt anymore at all. Do that with both legs. Basically I do clockwise and I do counterclockwise, and this makes my knees feel, if not bulletproof, bullet resistant. So I do a big wide sweep. You can do tighter sweep if you want, but anyway, all of these variations, and I've built up to this. This is very smooth compared to how I started. I was only doing 12 reps at first, 15 and 18 and so on. I just kept upping my reps, but I do that, and again I said I do counterclockwise, and I do feel some strain on the outside, so it tells me that there's some soreness, inflammation. I've definitely felt my knees a bit lately, or my legs in general, but it feels better already. In other words, it doesn't get worse, and doing this generally helps. So that was the counterclockwise on that side. I'll do a counterclockwise on this side, but this is my primary. This is good for lateral movement, tennis specifically. I feel like this has helped, and I didn't even keep count, but I think I know I'm generally in the 20 zone. Anyway, you can do it for feel too. Do it until you get tired. But again, I also do extensions, and I try to keep everything I try to keep my knee high, and I try to kick high. You see, I'm going above that bell, or that barbell down there. Kicking right for a Hulk's crotch. That was not intended, but that's the reality. But I do 25 of these now, and these I feel it, and I'm actually stabilizing myself with the. You can do this in a doorway if you don't have a handy squat rack. Oh, that hurts. In terms of muscles working, even after doing this for several months, it still hurts. I mean, it's an exercise, and I can tell I've been using those muscles because they're a little bit hurts like a kind of a fatigue, soreness, and maybe a tightness, you know. So same thing, I try to keep my feet a little back, so I've got a little space, maybe a foot or so, and then lift up. Now obviously you want to use a lighter weight if this is too heavy, but you can find these just about anywhere, TJ Maxx, Dick's Sporting Goods, etc. And I've used my old tennis grips as wraps for my little dumbbells over here. Each have a tennis grip, and my chin-up bar has lots of grips all the way across. Even some on here for where I grab. Why not? Put them back to use. They're not so gross because there's sweat through. So yeah. All right, and then I do 25 of these. 2. And again, I try to keep my leg pretty up. I wouldn't say it's always 90 degrees from the floor or parallel to the floor, but 90 degrees from my other leg, I should say. And I've lost count, but this is probably about 17 right now. And I can feel this in my hips and my back because I have to stabilize myself when I'm pushing this much weight. And it's good as long as you don't mess yourself up. Whew. All right, and the last thing for my Kneehab that I do, the most recent thing I added, and I usually do this first now because it's one of the most tiring, but the ball also keeps me kind of back. And this is a weighted ball. I think it's 15 pounds as well. If my toes or something get tired, I do push around exercises and stuff, and I use this to stretch on as well as this thing. This is great for a little step aerobic step. So anyway, I do these curtsy squats, they're called. Maybe difficult to see, but basically one leg back, the other forward, and there's maybe 7-8 inch between, and I use my hands to stabilize, but I also now stabilize on here when my balance is feeling good. So anyway, I go down and do a deep squat, and I come back up, and that does hurt at first for sure. And I do 25 of these now. And I try to pick up pace. I feel this in my ligaments, in my front knee, which is my bad right knee, but it's going on a couple of months of non-failure, which is good. And I've lost count again, so I'm just going to go faster and guess that I'm probably at about 15. And I'm not doing too much with my hands. It's really just balance. But eventually you want to get some of these with no support. Or like I said, holding heavy bag. I think that was close. So both legs, this leg actually, the bad one is worse when it's in the